Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Mahoney, and I'm the member of the Juneteenth Community Celebration Planning Committee. And we are here for one of my favorite parts of Juneteenth, the Black Business Highlight segment. And I am so honored to be here with the guest that I have here today, Mr. David Ghoolsby. And I will let him introduce himself. David, how you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Right on.
As you said, my name is David Ghoolsby. I am the owner and CEO of the Jackson Healing Clinic. We've been in business since almost coming up on our third year, so we're really excited about the growth and opportunities that we had and what we've done in 3 years and looking for the next 3 years.
So Jackson Healing Clinic. Now we're going to get into that. I can't wait. But let's start with David. Okay. David, tell me about yourself.
All right.
You from Jackson?
I'm not originally from Jackson. I've been here long enough to where I've got some roots in the community.
Okay.
Moved here probably when we were about 11 years old, so I've 20 plus years that we've been here. Parents have been pastors in the community for 25 plus years. My dad worked at Consumers Energy, so although not born and raised, mostly raised here though.
Absolutely. So you got roots here for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so what high school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Jackson High.
Okay.
Yep, class of 2004. Whoop.
Okay. Tell me again, how long have you been in business, and tell me about how you chose this particular profession.
This was when preparation meets opportunity sort of thing. I have been in the mental health field for a long time. My degree is in health administration. Prior to the pandemic, I worked for an ABA therapy company, and I was opening up clinics for children with autism, which was in the mental health field. Ironically, my wife was a therapist that worked at Star Commonwealth prior to the pandemic. During the pandemic, those worlds collided. There were no more clinics being opened up because nobody could come in. Star Commonwealth was shut down for other reasons, and we were both kind of sitting here like, who wants to go through this trying to find a wage again, you know what I mean, that will, when we're fighting with everyone that's lost a job in this pandemic. And so it took a lot of convincing, but I was like, hey, I've done this. Let's open up our own practice. Let's open it up. And she was a little reluctant at first. No, I don't think we can do it. I don't know. Do you really know what you're doing? And I think I finally was like, just trust me. She went and got another job. I was like, okay, I'm going to work another job, but let's try this. And so we shot it. And because the need has been so prevalent in Jackson, it has just caused business to just flow. We have some of the best therapists around. We are specific to kids, although that's not our only demographic. Okay. And because our therapists love what we do, and we love our therapists and being able to give back to the community, it is one of the greatest places that you could work or come to see. We are just a vibe, as they would say. We are trying to be a vibe for mental health in the community.
So when did you decide to get into business for yourself? Tell me about that moment when you said, you know what, we're going to go into this ourselves.
So I've had a lot of positions where I have run or managed a lot of money or managed departments. So I've got the opportunity to work around a lot of leaders, and take some characteristics from each of them, which is how I was like, if I ever get the opportunity to own my own business, never thought that I would, but if I ever got the opportunity, which I thought would come in the form of like, I don't know, the lottery or something, like, hey, have this business. And then one day we just kind of saw the opportunity and we're like, hey, this is how we're going to do this. We're going to start a telehealth only business. We don't even need a brick and mortar. Startup costs would be kind of minimum. My wife already had her degree. So, I mean, I guess those would be startup costs when you talk about student loans.
Yeah.
But the startup costs were minimal. We got the EHR, and then we just kind of started telling people, hey, we have a therapist that can come see you. Here are the insurances that we're paneled with. Well,
yeah.
I mean, the phone started ringing off the hook for that. And so we're like, we need more therapists. So we started recruiting aggressively and finding people. Star Commonwealth, luckily, had closed down. So there were a lot of therapists that were out of place, that were amazing with kids, that were looking for work. Well, you know what I mean? And that was kind of like the bridge that made everything else smooth sailing. So
it sounds like between you and your wife, you have a really great combination of both experience in the industry and expertise with the formal education and background that made a lot of this work well together.
So pivotal. It was the peanut butter and jelly met each other and she handles the clinical side.
Yeah.
She knows, how treating and updating on different treatment modalities, making sure the therapists are up to date, helping them case by case basis. Anything clinically specific, she is there for any support that the therapist needs, and they all respect her in the industry as one of the best therapists. In that same aspect, I have running everything that has to do with the admin, so everything from bill pay, hiring, recruiting, training, anything that you can think of, denials, claims, interns, things like that, that's what we handle. So it was really the perfect storm, for lack of a better term. So
yeah, that's wonderful. So was it difficult to develop and finance this business?
It was difficult to develop the business. The finance wasn't, because we took advantage of the pandemic. Had we done this without the pandemic, we would have had to try to find a building first, find secure funding to purchase a brick and mortar, get it done. Well, what we were able to do, because there was no such thing as really coming in person to therapy, is to do it all telehealth. So the people that we were hiring were working from their house using, their laptop.
Wow.
Well, that allowed us to take that money and then reinvest it. So by the time the pandemic kind of dissipated, we had enough money to go ahead and secure funding. Now, obviously, we didn't have, the whole thing for our first building, but we did partner through the Jackson Chamber with County National Bank. County National Bank pointed us in the direction of the Economic Development Corporation, who has been a lifesaver. They have helped us with the 20% deposit or down payment that they'd want from commercial loans twice now, and we've paid them back, and they glorify. They're like, we love you guys. Whatever your next business venture is, let us know. So they've taken care of us. We've taken care of them.
So that really answered my next question, which was going to be, did anybody reach out to you for help? Like the Chamber of Commerce, and did you know who to get in contact in order to get started? So I guess that would be a question that I would be interested in, is did they reach out to you or you reached out to them? And how did you know who to make the right connections with to make this whole puzzle come together?
So I didn't know the name of the people I needed to talk to, but I knew who I needed to speak with. So I went to the chamber and became part of the chamber with the goal of meeting people that could help us bring this vision to fruition in Jackson.
Wow.
So when I joined the chamber, it was, how can I find someone that can help us secure a commercial loan for a business? So boom, right off the jump, I was met with John Walden. I don't think he's no longer there. I don't think
he's
no
a great
there.
guy though.
Love
Yeah.
John. Now,
Yeah.
we talked back and forth. He made it very, very, very easy for us to, or made it seem easy. Obviously, there's a lot of paperwork, but we always felt comfortable with him. And then when it came down to, hey, you're going to have, this large chunk of money because it's commercial, well, that's when the EDC stepped in to help us kind of get a zero down. And then in turn, we made sure we paid them off. So that was key and very pivotal for us. I would like to keep saying the name Economic Development Corporation, because there are some funds out there that people don't, I've talked to people that never ever heard of this. So another option for funding if anyone else might need that.
Let's kind of switch gears just a little bit. Tell me, what do you think can be done to help Black businesses thrive?
The first thing that I can just shoot right off the cuff is having access to every Black-owned business in Jackson County, big, small, or indifferent, registered as an LLC or just a word-of-mouth shop. I believe that there has to be a database where we can access that. That way, there are people that are consciously looking to do some minority spend goals that can go to this database and be like, this is what I want. So I think that that's a big start to, I'd love to spend $20,000 this year on minority businesses. I look here, I've got landscaping, cleaning, catering, food service, all of the above, and they can just pick versus, taking some of the hurdles down of how I want to spend money with minority business. Now, how do I find them?
So let's talk a little bit about the Healing Place.
Okay.
What services do you guys offer?
So we offer therapy from 0 to 100. So we have infant mental health therapy all the way up to helping people in the geriatric age group. We specialize, and this is where my wife will be beneficial to have this, so I'm gonna name some of the treatment modalities, but EMDR training, CFTBC, She'll correct me later if I said those acronyms wrong. But we have a lot more on our website as well. Couples therapy that we do. We basically wanted to make sure that the needs that were prevalent in Jackson County were what our therapists were going to offer. So these conversations started at inception. We talked about this as if it was already manifested, even when we only had one therapist working out of their home. We would talk about, hey, we've always been telling people, hey, right now, because of the pandemic, we're not in the office, but we will. This is before we ever even knew how we were going to get some money for a building, but we just knew that the vision was to make mental health care services accessible for everyone in the city. So I do believe that that's helped us, and just the vision is, and we have talked about the vision and manifested the vision from inception.
Wow. And shout out to wives who believe in the vision.
Yeah.
Spouses in general that believe in the vision.
If you ask her, she'll tell you she was a little hesitant, but
Yeah.
one day she was like, well, the phone's ringing. I was like, yeah, we got clients. Let's go. So this is real. And, you know, the rest is history, and we joke about it all the time now, but it's just amazing to see. There was a huge need here.
That's powerful, man. That is super powerful. So do you believe that the community in general could be more supportive of your business and other Black businesses?
I do. I do believe they could be, and just by making it a conscious thing. That's it. I don't believe that there has to be, you know, a team that has to do this, but if we just consciously put it in our mind that we need to support and promote Black-owned businesses, I believe that that conscious thought will help do enough to do so. I need to support Black-owned businesses, so I am going to take these flyers and pass them out. I'm going to reshare this post. I am going to talk to my friend about this that I've seen. Just a conscious thought process when it comes to minority-owned business, I believe would bode well. It is not, you know, it can't just fall in as this is what every business does. It does have to be conscious.
Now, given your experience with this business, would you do it again?
Oh, 150 times over. It's so rewarding. I don't do a lot of client interactions, but when you have somebody going through a really dark time, and you 3-4 months later, after talking to their therapist, is like, you guys saved my life. I mean, just one person, that would make it all worth it. We get those on a consistent basis. That is one thing that we have established in our organization, is the culture. Everyone that works there loves to work for the Jackson Healing Clinic. And everyone that goes there, you know, obviously there's always some stragglers with the clients, but for the most part, they do well matching therapist to client. And the progress is amazing. To hear the Google reviews, the shout outs, the kudos, we have just like, I mean, that's what we do it for. And to know how many people we've touched, and we've only started coming up on 3 years, imagine where we're at 9-10 years, how many people we could have touched, helped, you know, prevented from jumping off the ledge, whatever it is. I think that that's just something that you can't stop smiling when you think about. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And would you encourage others to go into business for themselves?
I would encourage them to go into business for themselves, and to also reach out to people that have done it. We all have stumbled, hurdled, didn't know what we didn't know until we found out about it. So talk to people. One of the best things that happened to me is I talked to people that owned practices, and they were super helpful in answering these questions. Do it. It like I said, chances make champions, and this is a chance of a lifetime to go into business for yourself. It allows a lot more freedom of just being involved in a day-to-day life activities. So I would encourage everyone to at least give it a shot. And you know, my picture is up on our website, jacksonhealingclinic.com. I'm open to just answering some general questions about how I establish a business, funding sources, or maybe I even have some referrals. I can be like, hey, this is the guy you need to talk to for this. So definitely.
What message would you like people to know about going into business?
It's a grind. It's a grind. And one thing that I say a lot, and so I'll say it here, you are going to work way harder starting a business than you ever would for an organization that has you punching in 9 to 5. And that, going in knowing that there is grass at the end of the tunnel. Obviously, the goal is to build a business to where you can sit back. But in the beginning, understand that this is not a 40-hour-a-week job. This is a 24/7, 365 job until you get the business running the way you feel it should be going. So once it gets to that, that's where the glory comes. But a lot of people don't see that struggle in the beginning, that locked in my office for 12, 13 hours a day, filling out credentialing applications for different insurances and chasing denials. They don't see that. What they see is, oh, look at them on the TV. They got a couple of buildings now, or you know what I mean? Look what they did over here. But the grind started before anybody even knew what a Jackson Healing Clinic was. So that's my kind of my piece to it is, so you are going to work
40 hours
hard.
a week.
No, it might be 40 hours a day. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You can work 40 hours a week at a job for the rest of your life. When your business, the goal is to work 40 hours a day until you get to the point where you're sitting back and it's running itself like a well-oiled machine. So
Right on.
there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Right on. Again, we are here with David Ghoolsby from Jackson Healing Clinic. And this has been a Juneteenth community celebration Black business segment. Make sure you look out for the next one.